From the very beginning, I said Kody Brown's apology tour wasn't just insincere, it was strategic. And now that we're watching the one on one tell alls, that theory isn't just holding up, it feels confirmed because this apology tour was never about accountability. It was always a part of a larger, more diabolical plan, and it unfolded in phases.
You're here with me where you wanna be out the algorithm. Just you and me.
Phase one, the apology that forgave himself. Let's start with phase one. Kody's apology tour did two very important things. First, it gave him cover by publicly saying, I've forgiven my exes and I'm trying to move forward. Kody positioned himself as the emotionally involved party, which meant from that point forward, any criticism of him could be framed as cruelty. If the OG3 pushed back, they weren't responding to harm, they were being mean. They were bullying the man who was just trying to heal. Come on, people. This wasn't an apology at all. It was armor put on early so any future criticism could be dismissed as cruelty. Second, it allowed Kody to frame the discussion. His big dramatic apology boiled down to this: when we broke up, when my heart was broken because you left me, I said some things I didn't mean. I said I didn't love you, and that was a lie. And here's the problem. Most people hear that and think, yeah, breakups get ugly. People say things they don't mean. And Kody knows that. If that was all he did, angry words, hurt feelings, wounded pride, no honest person could or would hold that against him forever. But that isn't why they left. What never got addressed, what Kody and frankly the show or TLC never forced into the conversation, was why the marriages ended. Not the breakup, not the aftermath, the cause. There was no apology for abandonment, financial abuse, emotional neglect, weaponizing affection, favoritism, neglecting his children, punishing wives through withdrawal. These weren't heat of the moment comments. They were long-standing patterns of behavior, repeated, reinforced, and never repaired. And notice, none of that made it into the apology tour. Well, funny how that worked out. Because if he apologized for that, the entire plan collapses. Phase two, the one-on-one performance. Now we move into phase two, the one-on-one tell-alls. This is where the strategy becomes impossible to ignore. Kody isn't just defending himself anymore. He's laying the groundwork to justify the failure of the marriages. The new framing goes a little something like this: I was hurt, I was abandoned, you broke up the family, and despite how horribly you treated me, I tried to be a good man. You see the shift? He's no longer reacting, he's prosecuting. And here's the part that really burns me up. Unintentionally, the OG3 helped him do it. This is what I call the banana in the tailpipe trick. Over and over again, we hear Kody was the good man. Kody, oh, he was a good father. He was a great father. And I get why they say it. They're trying to be fair. They're trying to show growth. They're trying not to sound bitter. But what they're actually doing is conceding the central argument. They're tacitly saying this wasn't really his fault. In turn, one good turn deserves another. I'll be fair. There are relationships that end because people grow apart, their goals, priorities, and hearts change. There's no villain and no victims, but that explanation does not fit these circumstances or what we actually watch play out on the show. Phase 3, the blame shift. And now, the final phase. Phase 3 has already been teased in the trailers. Okay. And we watched a little bit of it with the whole Janelle backdoor deal bull stuff. The big one they want to try to roll out is marry the catfish. It's almost impressive. You know, I like the flexibility of the man because the same man who declared that the past is verboten suddenly remembers an incident from a decade ago. But here's my prediction. Kody and Robin will present this as the moment the trust was broken, the moment the family fractured, the moment everything fell apart. In other words, the justification. This is where phase 1 and phase 2 merge into phase 3, the full arc. Phase 1, I'm the bigger person. I've forgiven you. Phase 2, you hurt me. You abandoned me. You treated me terribly. Phase 3, given how badly you treated me, the marriage is failing wasn't my fault. And suddenly, Kody isn't the problem anymore. He's the tragic hero, the misunderstood man, the good guy who endured cruelty and still tried to lead with grace. None of this reflects growth. It reflects reputation laundering, a careful attempt to emerge looking reasonable while responsibility quietly tiptoes out the door and disappears. Here's my final thoughts. This apology tour, this big plan, it wasn't sloppy. It wasn't accidental. It was methodical. And if you clocked it early, you weren't being cynical. You were paying attention because accountability doesn't start with how you felt when they left. It starts with why they had to leave at all in the first damn place. And that conversation is the one Kody Brown has worked the hardest to avoid.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Let me know what you guys think. I run a call-in show on a live stream on Tuesdays. Thursday night, we have the Speak Pipe show. Leave a minute and a half message or many minute and a half messages on speakpipe.com/mytakeonreality. That's my take. I'm James. And this has been My Take on Reality. And I'm out.
'Cause I've been living life